My name is Drew Nicodemus. I'm the General Manager here at OxyPros. Today we're going to talk about portable oxygen tanks and how to change them out. The first thing we're going to talk about is how to turn on the flow of oxygen. The tank is hooked up to a regulator. When we release pressure into the regulator, we can then open up the regulator, release pressure to the patient. The top of the tank may have two different types of valves. One valve will have this little toggle on top, another may not. In this case, where we don't have one, you're going to have to use what we call a tank wrench. Tank wrenches are used to open up the tank, whereas your toggle, you can do it manually with your hand. First, we're going to open up our tank and release the pressure into our regulator. Insert your tank wrench at the top of the tank, and all it takes is one turn, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, or counterclockwise to open. After opening up your tank, you'll see the little needle on your gauge. That should pop up into the beginning of the green. Standard tanks are filled to 2,000 psi. They do have room for 3,000 psi. This is for room for the oxygen to expand, as the tank may heat up if it's left in a car or outside. Your next step will be to set your regulator for the liter flow that you were prescribed. Common liter flow is set to 2 liters. You see a little arrow right on your regulator, and you're just going to turn until it equals that number. These specific type of regulators are called pulse dose regulators. What they do is each time that you take a breath, it will release the oxygen into your nasal cannula. The deeper the breath you take, the more oxygen they will release. Be very careful when setting your regulator. You want to make sure that you set it on your conserving mode. Many regulators have a mode where you can do a continuous flow as well. If you set your tank to the continuous mode, it'll empty a lot quicker than anticipated. A standard tank like this, on 2 liters per minute, should last you around 4 hours. On the regulator, little nozzle points downward. You're going to attach your nasal cannula to that little point. When looking at the regulator, it's very important to keep an eye on where your needle is. As that needle gets closer into the red, you want to start thinking about switching out your tank. Now we're going to talk about changing out your tanks. First thing you always want to do, no matter what, even if you believe that your tank is empty, you want to make sure that the tank is fully closed. Take your tank wrench, or with your toggle, clockwise for close. The next step is we're going to remove the regulator from the tank itself. Most regulators, like this one, have different colored handles. This one is green. You're going to take that handle, turn it. If there's still pressure in your tank, don't be alarmed. You may hear just a little pop. And the regulator will slide up and over the tank. New tanks have a seal at the top. We need to remove this seal in order to attach the regulator. After removing the seal from the tank, we can put our regulator on top of the new one. Regulators, the nozzle should always be facing down. You're going to slide it up over the valve of your new tank. On your regulators, you're going to find 2 little prongs just as so. What you want to do, slip the regulator over the valve, line up the 2 prongs with the 2 holes on the valve of your new tank, hold it in place, and tighten with your handle on the regulator. One of the most common problems with the regulator is losing the washer that's attached to it. Washers are the seal between the regulator and the tank. It's very common for these washers to get stuck to a tank, especially in high degree temperatures. Washers over time will wear out. A faulty washer is the most common problem for a tank to slowly leak out. Be very careful that when you're not using the tank, to make sure that the valve is completely closed. After you have your regulator attached to your tank, you can place it back in your bag, attach your nasal cannula, and you're good to go.